kick us off.
Yeah. How are you? You well?
I'm very good, thank you. Yes.
First of all, team news.
We're still waiting a little bit on Kurt. He didn't train this morning, but he's done a little bit inside, so we'll have a look at Kurt tomorrow and see how he is.
Effectively, if you win, you're a point away from qualification. Job done.
Mm-hmm. Well, we've got to do that. We're just off a British record, I think, of 17 wins and 1 defeat. If you'd given me that, I don't know how many years, 2 years ago, in European football, I'd have certainly taken that. And hopefully we can correct that defeat tomorrow night.
What specific problems are Olympiacos going to give you? Because normally, in the past, when they've travelled, especially to this country in European football, they've not tended to do too well.
Yeah, but they're a very experienced European team. Played a lot in the UK. If you look through the few years, you know, I watched them play a couple of years ago against Arsenal. So they're very experienced as a football club, and you know, we're up against a good team. But I think this year our group, having Freiburg and Olympiacos in it, is probably the toughest group we've had in 3 years. So no, we're going to have to play well.
Exciting players in your team at the moment, Lucas Paqueta and also obviously Mohamed Kudus. I think West Ham fan Jim will look back to the Dimitri Payet season in a bit and think that was really exciting. But these two players seem to be offering a whole lot more.
Yeah, look, I think the team in general, for the last couple of years, have done an awful lot of good things. I've said many times, we're all trying to make progress. We're trying to move things on. We're trying to play better. And as you go along, when you try things, it can sometimes not always work out. But I have to say the two players you mentioned are been in really good form, and hopefully it continues.
Finally, from me, the team evolving brilliantly under you. 3 years in Europe under you, a European trophy under you. Is there any news on whether we'll be seeing 3 more years of David Moyes?
At the moment, I'm concentrating absolutely fully on winning my 18th game and having lost one in Europe in the last 18. So I'm focusing on that one game.
Lovely. Hey David, does I guess that 18th game come with a lot more energy and vengeance, knowing that you've only lost one in a European sense, and kind of what challenges do you expect from Olympiacos now playing them at home?
Well, there was difficult challenges in Olympiacos. Anybody who was there, the crowd were phenomenal for Olympiacos. They played an enormous part in it, and I have to be honest and say, on the day we didn't perform well. So I wouldn't hide that at all. We didn't play well, nowhere near our standards or our levels. So I'm looking for much better tomorrow night. We're going out there. We want to be in Europe after Christmas time. I think if we could win tomorrow night, then we might have got ourselves certainly in one of the tournaments, whether it be the Europa League or whether it was a conference. So I want to make sure that we get the wins, we qualify, and if we can do that tomorrow, then that will see us in Europe again after Christmas for the 3rd year in a row.
You ultimately made seven changes in that game against Olympiacos. Do you think that's, I guess, a difficulty when you are in so many different competitions, whether obviously be Arsenal since then, and continuing on in the Premier League, is squad selection, and does that cause a problem when it comes to, I guess, trying to get continuous games on the win?
I think the regular games is difficult, but that's why nowadays, you know, we continue to ask, are you buying more players, are you buying new players? Well, we bring them in so that we play them, so we don't just play 11 players anymore. You know, there's no managers, and I have to say most journalists continue to ask the question about, are you changing your players, are you going to swap them around? We've all got squads of players now we use, so you have to accept that's part and parcel of football, and we understand that we have to change a squad, we have to keep players fit and available. We're incredibly busy schedule, and we'll continue to do it. It's worked very well for us over the last couple of years.
Lovely. And just lastly for me, VAR is a continuous topic that keeps coming up, especially in the most recent days. As someone obviously that's been in football for as long as you've been, and you've been obviously a huge success before VAR, do you think referees are at a point, I guess, under immense scrutiny, or more scrutiny than you've probably previously seen with VAR and difficulties that it comes with?
Look, I think VAR in many ways has helped things, but I've also got to say that it's not, at the moment, I think we're every year we go from sort of thinking we'll make it better this year. I'm not too sure at the moment. We have been making things better, but I'm supportive. I want us to do well. I want the referees to do well, but I generally think that, you know, there's been situations in which we've seen recently, and quite often the television will pick out the big clubs who are having difficulties. You know, we saw a big difficulty in a situation with Liverpool and Tottenham not too long ago. There was a big debate about an Arsenal-Newcastle game, but don't forget the other teams. We've got quite a lot of these similar situations, and quite often we don't get covered as much as maybe the ones that you're probably thinking about just now.
Kieran?
Hi David, how are you?
How you doing, Kieran?
Those of us in Athens, you know, we were taken aback by that atmosphere. You don't want it to be a fun day out at the London Stadium for people, the away team visiting. Does it sort of need to gain that intimidation factor a bit more?
Yeah, I think I have to say I think that I don't think there'll be another club in the UK could have matched what Olympiacos was like. And let's be fair, you know, there's some brilliant stadiums. You know, when they're rocking Anfield, Old Trafford. You know, there's some great stadiums in our country. But I think we were all not surprised, but enjoyed it greatly because it was an incredible atmosphere. And the people who've seen like Eintracht Frankfurt last year, so we have an awful lot of good things going on in the Premier League, but I don't think we should get carried away that we think that necessarily we have the best atmospheres, because I generally think that if you go and watch a lot of the European games, you'd be quite shocked by how good the crowds are in Germany, or even some of the games in Belgium we've been in. So, and we weren't shocked by Greece, but just to say, I think it helped our team greatly, the support they had.
Is the onus on the players to sort of be the entertainers and get the fans riled up and enjoying it?
Well, I don't think if we were going into the game against Olympiacos, that their crowd was fantastic before the ball was even kicked. So I don't see it that way. I think that, you know, I think you come and support your team, and you it's not necessarily how they perform.
And we've seen obviously Bowen getting used as a striker a little more. How do you see that going? And is he like coming to you and saying, "Boss, use me up top, I love it," that?
No, he's happy to play in any positions we put him in. I think partly because of the history here, as you know, of Marco and Mick, and where we've sort of moved players, and actually partly the other reason is because finding other strikers is difficult and, you know, very expensive as well. So always in my mind that maybe Jared, in his early days, Jared had played some games for Hull City as a centre forward, so I was aware that he had done it. So he's done really well whatever role he's played for us, and you know, he scores another goal at the weekend as well, and he's kept his goals ticking along, and we've needed that because he's been really important for us.
Hi David. Win tomorrow and you can take control of your group. Lose and you can maybe lose control. Is that the message that you want to get across? You want to be in charge of your own destiny and avoid that playoff if you can, because that's really not what you want. More games.
No, that's right. But again, you know, I think we're in a tougher group than we've been in before, so we're not taking anything for granted. We also have, as you can see, like I think the 3 games were played. Well, this will be the 3rd one. After this, we have another Premier League game. The 3 teams, none of them have had. So after we played Aston Villa, everywhere, then we had to play Everton. Then we've had to play Brentford, and now we've got Nottingham Forest. And none of those 3 teams have had a midweek game leading up to our league game. So we have to make sure that we get the balance right. We have to make sure that we're ready for the Premier League games, because that's where the difficulty comes.
You mentioned about wanting to be involved after Christmas, whether it is the Europa League or Conference League. Can West Ham afford to be picky? I mean, obviously you want to be in the Europa League, but it's still a European competition. You won the Conference League last season. You wouldn't be too disappointed if you were in the Conference League after Christmas.
Yeah, you could look at it many ways. We want to be in the Europa League. We want to win the group. We want to be in Europa League, and we want to get through and having no games in February. I think that's when they are February, isn't it? Yeah, the 2 games. But if we do, then we'll take it, and we'll do it that way. There could be an argument that, you know, that you being in 3rd, you get in the conference and you go into that, and it could be different. But the Europa League is what we want to do well in, and I think we're in a really good position. We're top of the group at the moment. and the intention is to be top of the group come Thursday evening.
And just finally, James Ward-Prowse hasn't scored or assisted in his last 6 games in all competitions. Is it just because he's set a really high bar and that's the level now, and does he need to keep getting back to that?
It's bad, that, isn't it? No, I think that he set a great standard early doors and maybe just settled itself down a little bit. No, other teams looking at things that we do as well, so that can all play its part. So I hope he can continue to get assists and goals, and he keeps it going.
I'll just touch on something we talked a little bit about last week about the idea of being a good cup team. It's almost like a backhanded compliment, you know, the kind of teams that can't quite keep it up in the league sometimes. Just wonder the way last season panned out, has it changed your mind on that at all? You spent all the last year worried about your league form and then you end up winning a trophy and that's all anyone remembers anyway.
Yeah, I've got to say that, and I repeat myself, I think to be a manager you want to be a really good league team. The supporters want you to win a cup, but I think as a manager you want, because being a good league team shows that you're showing consistency for 10 months of the year, you're playing all through the year. But we all know that to try and win the league or to have a success in the league is really difficult. So I think the cups play a big part in, you know, trying to keep the supporters, you know, happy with that as well. And I have to say, to be honest, you know, last year, you know, I needed the league game, I needed the cup games because my league form wasn't good enough last year. So the cup games kept us bubbling along and kept us going. And by the end, we probably had the best season in our history for a long time. So you never know where it comes, but you've just got to keep ploughing away and hope that you get something out the results in the games.
I think because of that, fans will be a bit more forgiving or a bit less panic this year if you do have the odd blip in the league, as long as you are still going well in the cups.
No, I think that rightly so. We want to do well in the league. I've said that. You know, we did last year, but I definitely believe that we are a much better team than we have maybe shown just in the last 2 or 3 games. But we have to prove that again, and I'm sure we will.
Okay, last for you now. Who's got a mic?
Hi, David.
Hi there.
So James Ward-Prowse spoke recently about wanting to get revenge on Olympiacos for what he described as ungracious behaviour in victory. If you're aware of this, how do you feel about that being a motivating factor for your players to push for that victory?
I'm actually not aware of that, so I'm not aware of that. No, sorry.
Fair enough. How would you feel about that being?
Well, I'm not aware of it, so I'm just saying it is. I think that there's a little bit of feeling that we lost our game when we were hoping to go 18 unbeaten. So I think now we've got a chance to put it right and get the result. So hopefully we can do that.
Any more? Yep, just one there.
Hi, David.
Hi there.
Last time you lost to Olympiacos, you followed it up with a resounding win at home, and that was back at United. How important is it you get a similar kind of result on Thursday and then try and take that into the league on Sunday at Forest?
Yeah. Well, the difference then was we'd lost the first leg and we won the second leg 3-0. So, because it was a 2-legged game, at the moment it's different. We're in the group stages, so we have other games we have to play. You know, we've got 2 home games being Olympiacos and Freiburg to come, and we've got 1 game still to go to Serbia. So I think we're in a pretty good position in the group stages. And over the last 2 years, we've done brilliant in the group. Really, we've topped the group both years. But the point's good. We have to show that we can win the game. I'm sure we can. We have to play well, and we have to play much better than we did do in Olympiacos.
Hi there.
Hi there.
I'd like to ask about Edson Alvarez and how is important for tomorrow, and what is the probability to start in the beginning tomorrow? Thank you.
Well, Edson's really important to us. We missed him at the weekend. He had a suspension. So yeah, he's back in the squad with everybody else. He's made a really positive start here to me and the team, but I think to all the supporters as well. They've seen him in a very good light. So we're pleased with how he's done, settling in. He's still getting used to the Premier League. You know, there's little bits of ups and downs, but it's the same for all players who come to the league from overseas. They find the intensity, the speed, the scheduling, the amount of games can have an impact. So we try to rest them as well. We didn't start them in Olympiacos because we're trying to make sure that we get the players the amount of time, the right moments when to play, when not to play, so that get into the games that we're fresh for Premier League games as well.
Okay, final question.
Hi David, what did you learn most about Olympiacos from that defeat in Piraeus 2 weeks ago?
I don't think I learnt anything that I didn't know. I think they've got some really talented players. We knew exactly what the atmosphere would be like. We knew that, but until you actually witness it, so that was a big point. And look, we're up against one of the better teams we've played in Europe, probably at home. So I've got to say that I think at the moment we're close to a sellout at the stadium. I think we've got 55 or 60,000 at the moment. It's an incredible crowd, you know, and for a group game. So I think we'll give Olympiacos a chance to see us hopefully in better form, and the crowd in good fettle, and hopefully a full stadium on Thursday night.
You mentioned you're at home. You've won 11 of your 14 European games at home over the past few seasons. How important do you think your home form will be going forward if you're to go deep into this competition again?
Well, we've won the group stage for the last 2 years, so you know, this year I said I think we're in a tougher group than we've been before. But we have to also prioritise the Premier League. You know, I've just told you that there's three teams we've played just who have had no midweek game, while we've had a midweek game. So we have to try and find the right balance to get by winning the group and doing well in the Premier League as well.
Okay, thanks guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
Very good.
How are you?